Buckle up. Today we're diving into the wildest scams humans have ever pulled off. From billion-dollar lies to history-making cons, it's so crazy you won't believe people actually fell for it. Let's jump straight into the madness. All right, there's this Italian dude named Charles Ponzi. And one day he wakes up and goes, you know what would be iconic? Breaking capitalism. This man didn't just finesse the system, he became the blueprint for every scam that came after him. To be clear, there were Ponzi schemes before Charles Ponzi. In fact, for a while he worked at a bank which went out of business because the owner was running a Ponzi scheme. While we're here, smash that subscribe button and hit like. Because let's be real, you're not going to want to miss the next insane video from us. Now, back to it. We're talking early 1900s. Ponzi's broke, fresh off the boat, barely speaks English, but somehow still manages to ooze confidence. One day he's staring at this weird little thing called an international reply coupon, basically a stamp voucher your grandma used to send letters to her pen pal in Portugal. Instant light bulb moment. His genius idea? Buy these coupons in countries where they're cheap, redeem them in countries where they're expensive. Arbitrage, baby. It's like the stock market, but for stamps. And on paper, this actually makes sense. So he runs around telling folks, yo, give me your money and I'll double it in 90 days. And people? They're handing him stacks like he's the Pope of profit. Everyone wants in. It's the hottest thing since sliced bread. If sliced bread could return 50% in 45 days. But here's the thing. He never buys the coupons. Not a single one. The whole operation, a pyramid in a tuxedo, he just uses money from new investors to pay off the old ones. Classic Ponzi move, but back then nobody knew what that was. At his peak, Ponzi had $15 million in the bank, which is over $200 million today. All built on blind faith. He's living the dream. Mansions, limos, silk suits. People called him the Italian Rockefeller, and honestly, he was more like Samuel L. Jackson. But like every reality show built on delusion, it came crashing down. By August 1920, people started asking questions. The government looked at the books and went, wait, that's all the IRCs you got? He was arrested for mail fraud. He had such a great run that the entire scam was named after him. I guess there is more than one way to be immortalized. Now fast forward a century, still in America, still ridiculous. But instead of stamps, it's blood. Enter Elizabeth Holmes, the tech world's biggest fraud since Internet Explorer and the unofficial queen of fake it till you bankrupt a Walgreens. Holmes was a Stanford dropout with the fashion sense of Steve Jobs and a voice deeper than Darth Vader doing ASMR. In 2003, she launched Theranos and told the world, I can run hundreds of blood tests from a single drop. No needles, no tubes, just poke and instant diagnostics. Obviously, something went wrong because we don't have that technology now. But back then, people bought it. Walgreens signs a deal. Billionaire investors start throwing cash like they're trying to summon a unicorn. Her board, Kissinger, Mattis, former secretaries of state, people who probably had nuclear codes. The company hit a $9 billion valuation. Holmes was named the youngest self-made female billionaire. Everything looked golden until you peeked behind the curtain. The tech didn't work at all. Most tests were secretly run on regular old commercial lab machines. And Holmes, alongside her boyfriend/business partner, Sonny Balwani, kept the illusion alive with fake test results and enough smoke and mirrors to put a magician to shame. Patients were grossly misdiagnosed, all thanks to Holmes' high-tech voodoo box. But then a couple of whistleblowers stepped up, and a very spicy Wall Street Journal expose nuked the whole fantasy. Suddenly, Holmes went from Forbes cover girl to courtroom headliner. In 2018, Holmes and Balwani were hit with federal fraud charges. By 2022, Holmes was convicted on 4 felony counts and sentenced to over 11 years in prison. Sonny, convicted on all 12 and got almost 13 years. So no, Theranos didn't revolutionize healthcare. It just proved you can con half of Silicon Valley with a turtleneck and a deep voice. All right, now picture your grandpa. Now picture him running the biggest financial scam in world history while sipping espresso in a $5,000 suit and pretending he invented investing. That's Bernie Madoff, former NASDAQ chairman, Wall Street legend, and full-time scammer who made entire countries, banks, and billionaires go broke with a smile. Madoff told everyone he had this exclusive, ultra-sophisticated strategy called a split-strike conversion, which, let's be honest, sounds more like a Mortal Kombat finisher than a financial model. He claimed he could deliver steady, high returns no matter what. Rain or shine, Bernie always wins. Except he wasn't doing anything. There were no trades, no investments, no actual strategy, just old school Ponzi sauce. He'd take money from new investors to pay the profits to earlier ones. The original robbing Peter to pay Paul, but with yachts, private jets, and fake spreadsheets. People ate it up. Celebrities, universities, billionaires, entire banks. Even charities dumped their money into Madoff's magic machine because his numbers looked like they were written by Jesus' accountant. But then came the 2008 financial crash, and suddenly everyone wanted their money back, all at once. And just like that, the whole thing unraveled faster than your will to live during tax season. Madoff knew the jig was up. So what does he do? He confesses to his sons, who immediately hit the emergency brakes and turn him in like it's Thanksgiving with the FBI. In 2009, Madoff pled guilty to 11 felonies and got sentenced to 150 years in prison. Not 15, 150. Like they wanted to make sure he couldn't Ponzi scheme the afterlife. He died in prison in 2021. The damage? Over $65 billion evaporated. Thousands of lives ruined possibly forever. Now, speaking of disasters in suits, let's talk Enron, the corporate version of a Tinder date that catfishes you straight into bankruptcy. Back in the 90s, Enron was the crown jewel of energy companies. They had the media eating out of their hands, investors lining up like it was Black Friday, and a reputation shinier than a politician during campaign season. But here's the twist. They weren't really selling energy. They were selling confidence. All smoke. No spark. Basically, business school mythology wrapped in overpriced stock options. Their secret weapon? Something called mark-to-market accounting. Here's what it means. If Enron thought a deal might make $1 billion 10 years from now, they wrote it down like they had already made it today. It's like buying a lottery ticket and immediately quitting your job, because you manifested the win. And to make things worse, they created these shell companies called special purpose entities, basically shadow corporations where they shoved all their debt and shady stuff so it wouldn't show up on the balance sheet. Meanwhile, top execs were cashing out stocks like they knew the ship was sinking, while regular employees were dumping their entire retirements into Enron stock thinking it was a sure bet. It was a bad one. And their accountants? Arthur Andersen, one of the big five firms. These guys were supposed to be the watchdogs, but instead, they helped Enron cook the books, then shredded the evidence. That move alone killed the entire accounting firm. By 2001, it all came crashing down. Enron filed for bankruptcy with a $74 billion implosion heard around the financial world. Thousands of employees gone, billions in investments vaporized. Congress had to step in and create the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, basically the government's way of saying, please stop being cartoonishly corrupt. So let's wrap this chaos up, shall we? From Ponzi flipping coupons, to Holmes pretending to cure cancer with a humidifier, to Madoff turning people's retirements into monopoly money, and Enron proving that PowerPoint can, in fact, bankrupt a nation, these scams weren't just criminal, they were full-blown performance art. If something sounds too good to be true, it's probably a dude in a suit selling you magic beans. And if you made it this far, congratulations. You're now 97% scam-proof. But just to be safe, hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Like this video if your retirement plan is not getting scammed. Drop a comment if you've ever been burned by a shady pitch, and share this with that one friend who thinks crypto NFTs backed by air are the future, because scamming might be eternal, but so is Dante Dread.